we know that the United States Air Force struck these last weekend, the facilities where the enrichment takes place and some of the other key facilities associated with the nuclear program. We know that they were heavily damaged. What we don't know is the precise degree of the damage, and I would argue that that's not that important. The White House uses the word obliterated. The initial reports coming out of the Defense Department that were unfortunately leaked seem to use some lesser adjectives. The degree of the adjective is not what is important. What is important is that the damage was significant in nature, and that at least for the moment, Iran is not able to enrich uranium.
For the moment,
So
I think
gives it.
Yeah, well, I want to just cut you off for a second, because for the moment, I think is a key phrase that I heard come from you just now. We've heard differing analyses based on intelligence just in recent days that says it could be set back a number of years or just set back a number of months. Do we know what the likely scenario is?
At this point, we don't. That's going to require some further analysis. And quite frankly, I don't think we will know until we get some international inspectors on the ground there. That's what is useful for the time being, that we use this space for diplomacy. And part of that should be to request access for the IAEA, the UN watchdog agency, to get its inspectors in on the ground to assess what is the nature of Iran's enrichment program. And so that we can start building confidence that in the future, if there is a arrangement worked out, that we can have the confidence that Iran is not enriching, that it is not doing illicit activities of the sort that led to the cycle of violence that we have seen in recent days.
So, John, if they get those inspectors get on the ground and they're looking at the sites that were attacked, the targets by the U.S., do they also get access to Iran more broadly? So in other words, other installations or activities or capabilities when it comes to uranium enrichment or nuclear enrichment? Like, do they get a full picture, or is it just what was hit? I'm just trying to get an idea of what they really have access to and what still might be unknowns after their visit, if they visit.
You ask a very good question. That will be a subject for very intense negotiations. In the past, Iran has always been very secretive, and they have always given the impression that they are hiding something. And this has led to a lack of confidence. I think what we want to achieve is a set of arrangements where there is confidence, where there is transparency, where there is confidence that Iran is not hiding something, that they are not putting on a show for the benefit of the inspectors and doing something behind the scenes. This is how we know that there is not some sort of illicit activity going on. And this is where we will have confidence that there is not a nuclear weapons program. Iran says there is not. The arrangement that is put into place should be one that shows that.
What did you make of the comments that we got from Tehran that the nuclear installations were, quote, badly damaged? Because, and look, I'm not a military strategist, but just basic logic as I think this through would be, if I wanted to hide a nuclear program, or if I wanted people to think that I wasn't doing enrichment, I would say that facilities were damaged and not allowing me to do these enrichment activities. Is that a fair way to look at these comments from Tehran?
It could be. It's also admitting what is clearly the truth. There were thousands of tons of explosives dropped on these facilities. They are going to be heavily damaged. And that, I think, is merely accepting reality.
And bottom line, I mean, do we ultimately know where the uranium is and where that pile has been moved? We don't know that, do we?
We don't. The enriched uranium is in a highly transportable form and containers that can be moved relatively easily from one place to another. So this is something also that if I were on the negotiation team, I would make a point of asking for early on in the process. Where is the uranium? Can we have an accounting for it? Can we have some tracking and transparency on where it is? And as part of the final arrangement, I would want some accountability and some safeguards placed on that material. That's very dangerous.